Okay, welcome to this demo, and we're going to use this Hello World app here to build a photo uploading app using Python and Vue.js. And let's see, the first thing we're going to do is download this example Hello World app. Click Hello and then click Raw, and then just save the file. And, okay, now this is simple. You just drag this HTML file onto your web browser, and now you're running this little mobile web app, and you can edit the app by clicking this Save Code Changes button. So now to change the code, I'm going to drag this into my text editor. And get that on screen here. So what we're going to do is just delete some of this example code in here. Delete the HTML, delete these variables in the Vue app, and then delete this method in the Vue app and the Python code at the bottom here. Now we can build up our little photo uploader. So first thing we're going to do is create a file upload control, and we're going to have a little URL variable that's going to use the upload to variable in the Vue app. So that is pretty much it for the file upload control and the tag. And so to create this upload to value, we're just going to go out here to the Vue app into this data method, and we're going to do upload to is coder.com exec equals, and this is going to be the name of our Python function that we're going to create, so we'll call it upload file. And we're also going to create another variable here that's just an array. We're going to put a list of files after we download them from the server. So next up, we want to create our upload file function, so that's referenced right here. So what's going to happen is when the user chooses a file to upload, it's going to use this view file upload control, and it's going to send it to this endpoint right here. So we're going to write some Python code that's going to handle that. And so here's what that looks like. So we're going to define a method called upload file, and end that with a colon. And then first thing we need to do is make sure that there is a folder that the file can be copied into. So we're going to check if the folder exists, and if it doesn't, we're going to create it. So if not, os.path exists, my files, then os.make there's my files. So it's going to make a directory. Now the Python indentation has to be just perfect or it won't work. So it has to look like that. So we've got a colon here, goes in one level, a colon here, so it goes in another level. So that's going to make our directory, and we should be good to go. So that now we can copy the file that was uploaded. So there's going to be a pre-made array called file data, and it's going to have the temporary name of the uploaded file. So we're going to grab that temporary name. We're going to copy from the temporary name to our destination, which is going to be this my files folder that we created, plus the name of the file that was uploaded. So that should copy our file. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a database table in the SQL database. Uses SQLite. We'll call the table files, and each record will have a name field. So the way we do that is by putting the file data name into the SQL database, and that is pretty much it. So we're just going to print a 1 so the front end knows that the upload was successful. We're going to create one more Python function here called get files, and this is going to let us get our list of files from the server. And so what we'll do is we'll do files equals get all files. This is going to give us an SQL query that returns all of the records from the files table. And so each record will have a name field in the record, and also an ID, which is its integer database ID. So all right, we'll print to JSON.dumps and the files. So we're going to send the list of files back to the front end through this function getFiles. So we're going to call that from our Vue app. So speaking of that, let's go ahead and create a method here called getFiles, and it's going to connect to the server like this. We're going to do a vue.http get, and then we're going to connect to that Python function that we just created called getFiles. Do that right here, calling it getFiles. So again, this is the name of the Python function that we created, and so to finish out this code, we should get a response back, and then we have a function that runs. And so we're going to set our local files array to the contents of the response from the server. So this files equals response.body. So you can see this is files right here. We connect to the server to our Python function, and then when the response comes back, we put that data right here into this files, which will go in there. And now we're going to render that in the user interface. So what we're going to do is have a list of files here, into cell, and each cell is, we're going to loop over our list of files. So the way you do that is like this: file index in files, and the title of this element will be .name. So this name comes from our SQL database because we created a table called files that has each record with a name field on it. So when we return our database contents back to the front end, each record will have a name field, and so that's what we're referencing here in our Vue code. So we're looping over the files, and we're setting each item to have the title of the file name. And all right, I think we're ready to see if this code is working. So I'm going to switch back over here to the browser and click the Save Code Changes button. And looks like I got a little HTML problem here. Here we go. Empty cell. I'll upload. Oops, I forgot the equals right there. Okay, v4 equals, right? So you might get that kind of problem. And it's part of programming. So here we go. I'm going to choose a file. Actually, let's open up the console and just see if anything is happening in there. Choose a file to upload. And okay, it's uploading. And now, oh, I know what I forgot. I don't have anything calling our list of files method. So we created this method in the Vue app called getFiles, but it's actually not being triggered anywhere. So we're not getting our list of files from the server. So this function created gets triggered each time the page loads. So I'm just going to put it here for now. So do like a this.getFiles, and I'm going to save my changes to the text file, and then come over here, click Save Code Changes, which will send it up to the server, and you can see that it loaded the file I uploaded. So let's see, I'm going to choose another file and upload it here. And now if I reload the page, I should see another item. So there we go. All right, so our uploading is working, and our database is working, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to create a link for each of these items. So we go back to our HTML. We're going to call this is-link, and then :2 equals, and there's a little trick here we're going to do. Actually, we'll use a variable here. We'll call it link2. So there's going to be a variable called link2 that has our destination link where we can view each file. So to have that link2 populated, we're going to go down here, link2, and This is a special built-in function called myFile, but we also are going to implement it in the Python, and we're going to pass a file attribute also. So what we're going to do up here is we're actually going to concatenate link2 with the database ID. So it'll be file.id, and that'll be the integer for that record in the database. And it'll be appended to the link we created called link2, which is down here. So we're going to call this Python function myFile and pass it a file parameter with the database ID. So now down here in our Python, we're going to add another method here. MyFile. And my file is going to look like get one. We're going to do a database query in the files table, and we're going to pass it in the ID of the file in our database. So as you saw previously, we concatenated that onto the URL. Right here is the URL. We're passing and file equals, and then up here we're appending the file ID to that URL. So it's all going to be put together, and then here on the server we're going to receive that URL and get the file ID out of it from this params variable. And now we can print out a little bit of JSON that will output the file. So the way that works is like this. File, maybe my files, and then the record that was returned, the name of the file, and then also what kind of file it is, and we'll just do image JPEG. Okay, now we should build a link to the file, so I'm going to save my code, and then click Save Changes over here, Save Code Changes. You can see that there's a little caret here on each item, so if I click on an item, you can see that file, and if I click on the other item, you can see that file. So there you go. Building a mobile web app that can upload a file and list some files, and it's pretty straightforward.